To the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar pointing you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on
Man Talk Mondays, we are back again, ladies and gentlemen. All up in your area. I am Derek, the Thought Engineer, here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Yogi Lewis himself.
You better ask somebody. You better ask somebody. How you doing, man? What's going on? How was the weekend, man?
Weekend was good. Kind of, I guess it wasn't too busy. It was kind of, it's graduation time, so everybody having graduation parties and the whole nine. So we went to a graduation party and everything, some family. It was a cool time, had a good time and everything, and but just kind of chilled out, hung out for the weekend. Nothing much. How about you?
We went to a blues spot in South Dallas on Friday, and I haven't been to South Dallas lately. Oh, I should have brought my pistol. Everything was good. Everything was good though. It was good. We had a good time. I don't get out like that no more. Not like I used to, man. I don't get out like that no more. We had a good time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And everything is cash. You pull out a card, they be looking at you like, we need cash, sir. Everything
really?
Cash. Yes.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
People use cash. People getting away from cash these days. The way
now South Dallas said, we want your cash. We want all your cash.
Good evening, Mr. Ben.
How's it going, sir?
Thanks for hopping on tonight. Definitely appreciate you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, this is Man Talk Monday. It's an open forum. We talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this is not just for men. It's not just for us. Women, guess what? You can join in the conversation too. Matter of fact, we want to hear from you. Now, how you join the conversation? Simply go in, drop your comment, drop your question in the comment section, and we can see it. We'll be able to see it, but this is how you can talk to us, chat with us, let us know what's on your mind, how you feeling, the whole nine. But by all means, let us know. All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. We have a podcast available as well. You can find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, Bullhorn, Overcast, all those different podcast sites you can find us on, and check us out at your leisure. Whenever you just hanging around, just doing whatever, you can listen to Man Talk Mondays. Also, we on TV. We are on TV. You can catch us on BS3 TV on Roku. We're taking over Roku for I guess not for the 992. Way past that.
I was gonna say for the 99.
We just taking over. We taking over.
Yeah,
right?
we taking over.
TV. BS3 Network. We got some great content on there. Make sure you go by and check out some of the great content on BS3 TV on Roku. Also, if you don't have a Roku device or a Roku TV, you can log in from your computer. Go to our web link. It's bs3tvlive.com. You can check us out there. We making it easy for you.
Then you can't miss us. You can't hide from us. We everywhere. From the 99 to the 2000s, we everywhere.
And beyond. Hey, Mr. CJ, welcome to the show, sir. What's good, y'all? My first time. Okay, we got a first time. Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you for joining in. Justin, good to have you as well. All right. So now we're up to our part where we just kind of talk about some events that happened recently, some things to noteworthy, I guess you can say, some noteworthy things that have happened in the world around us. And for all of those who keep up with the Kardashians, you don't keep up with them?
Yeah. Just Kim, Courtney, Kylie, Kaylee, and it's one more. Those are the only one I keep up with. And they mama.
Mamas. Okay. Courtney, the more mild-mannered one, Kourtney Kardashian, she and Travis Barker are now married. They got married recently.
Wouldn't it be kind of difficult to marry? I mean, not really difficult, but if you're a Kardashian, don't you almost have to change your last? Is she going to change her name or is he going to change his name?
I don't know. Remember, Kim hyphenated when she married Kanye. She hyphenated. She was Kim Kardashian West. So maybe she'll hyphenate for the sake of making sure she holds on to the Kardashian name. But the youngest girls, they Jenners though. You know, they Jenners. So I don't know. Maybe
they got all the loot. If you got the loot, then so if you got more loot, should you have to change? Say like if I marry Oprah, I would let Oprah have my name. My name worth about $37. So Oprah
you'll be John Winfrey, son. John Yogi Winfrey would be your name.
So she might have something to say about that. She might.
Hey, you ain't locking Oprah down, no way. Stedman ain't been able to do it all these years.
I know.
Hey, I know. Stedman is chilling. Stedman like.
Hey man, best of both worlds, right?
The most well-kept man in America, man, in the world, Stedman. Stedman is a G, man. He's a G. But they did get married, and big deal for those of you who keep up with that. It's a big deal.
Yeah, because I thought she was gonna marry that other guy, Scott. I thought they were married. I thought because they was always on each other. I thought they were married. I had no idea they wasn't married. But I guess that's how we do. You know,
Scott was all about he just baby daddy. That's all he wanted to be. He the baby daddy, and he do his thing. He wasn't trying to be tied down. But he found somebody that'll put a ring on it. Found somebody to put a ring on it.
Good for her.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, dude.
Travis Barker. Congratulations.
See, I saw the pictures, but I didn't know who it was when I saw the picture.
You know which one you was looking at, huh?
I didn't know which. You know, they change their appearance from week to week. Really, you really can't never tell which one you're looking at.
Oh man, you're right about that. Well, congratulations are in order for A$AP Rocky and Rihanna. They had the baby. The baby is here. They welcome a baby boy. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, baby boy. Billionaires, I guess you could say, Rihanna and rapper A$AP Rocky.
So, who winning in that? Is A$AP winning or Rihanna winning?
I don't know. I mean, some people might feel like A$AP winning. He got a sugar mama. Well, I don't know how much he's worth. Queen 3 and King. I know this Mr. Ivan says, what up, fellas? What's going on, Mr. Ivan?
I think he worth about, I want to say about 15 million. I think something like that. It wasn't a whole lot of money. It wasn't a whole lot of money.
But is there a point where it doesn't matter? Like after you hit a certain level where you know you can sustain yourself, does it matter how much the other person makes?
Well, it does. It shouldn't, but that's generally not how it works, though. If in a perfect world, she got bread, I got bread. I got bread, right. She got bread. In a perfect world, but as you know, our world is far from perfect. Far. Like you can't. Wait a minute, let me look for it. Can't even see it. You can't even see it. The world's so messed up, you can't even see it.
That's true. That's true. Good thing is, I guess it's a healthy baby boy.
That's all that matters.
And I guess, man, you got that much money. Somebody better come out healthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not that you got it, but you got all of the best care. Not that you got control over there, but you got all the best care that money can buy.
Doctors, and Rihanna is falling. Okay. I wonder if she got the snapback, D. You think she got the snapback?
I guess you about to see. We'll see. Listen.
Because if she look bad, D, it ain't gonna be a good look.
Here's the thing. You're talking about actors, singers, people in the entertainment industry.
That's how they do.
Your look is part of your product.
Yeah.
So you have to keep yourself up unless you marketed yourself as just that kind of person who's doesn't have a certain look. But even those people have pressure on them. But
that's what I did. When I came out, I had a sandwich and some chips and some hot fries. I was like, hey, I'm behind the camera. All you can see is this. We good.
And the Faygo soda. Faygo soda pop.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question though about, it's kind of what's the dynamic with them. I mean, they're not married, but if they get married, I wonder how much that is going to play the big difference in their net worth and everything, how much that's going to play into the marriage.
It's going to play
a lot. It's a big deal. Should it be a big deal?
Yes, it's going to be a really big deal. It's going to be a really big deal.
Okay. Well, we got in the world we living in now, you got a lot of people who are doing big things now, and people are seeing money that they haven't seen before in years, but they still want to get married and still want to be with people. So we want to know tonight, is it, are prenups necessary? What's mine is mine. Are prenups necessary? It's what we want to talk about tonight. And we know y'all don't just want to hear from two guys about this.
That's not true. They do want to hear from us. But because they do, we're going to bring somebody else on anyway.
Let me get Anthony said her money, if her genetics will allow her to snap back. Don't be talking about my girl, John. Okay.
So everybody that's my girl. Oh, you're not going to take Riri from me. That's my girl.
We got a guest joining us tonight for this conversation all the way from Life Happens on BS3 Network.
My favorite show.
Miss Grace.
My favorite show.
Is it Grace Rabia? How do you say that?
Okay, so John, you lying. But anyway, because John didn't even remember who I was when I met John, and now you bullshitting. Because you're showing the people. Stop it. Okay, so Rabia is my Arabic name, and Grace is my ministry name.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so I can go by either.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Huh.
All right. Well, for the sake of tonight, you're gonna be Grace tonight. We're gonna be Grace tonight. All right.
Okay.
So prenups. We got women, a lot of women now. They're bosses, right?
Right.
They got businesses, they making their own money. Rihanna, case in point, she's a billionaire. and people are still wanting to do marriage and relationships.
Right.
So what are y'all's thoughts on prenups? Do you think prenups are actually needed?
I thought about this when you sent me this afternoon, right? So there's many ways to look at this. You can look at it from spiritual, you can look at it from cultural or worldly. I put culture and world together, right?
Right.
For me, if somebody asked me, or somebody said to me, "Hey, let's put together a prenup before I got married," I would think that you're already going into this marriage with the mindset that it's going to fail anyway, right? Now, you said that there are a lot of women bosses, right? And you're right. There are a lot of women that are educated, that have businesses that are thriving. But at the end of the day, a woman wants to feel safe, right? No matter how much money you have, you want to feel safe. So to me, I don't think it's necessary. Like you're talking about Rihanna and ASAP, right? He's worth 10 million and she's 1.7 billion. At the end of the day, Rihanna is a woman, and 10 million versus 1.7 billion is a vast difference. Yes. She can take care of herself, he can take care of himself. So would it really be necessary? Or is he going into this with the mindset, hey, I'm going to have a baby with her and then I'm going to screw her over and I'm going to take all her shit? So to me, its intentions are important. Like, what are your intentions going into it? That's what I think.
But to your point, do people ever just say, you know what, I think I'm gonna marry you for a couple of years and then I'm probably gonna get tired of you by then and I'm just gonna leave. But when somebody brings it up, especially if you're dealing with a man, say a man, he's a millionaire going into the relationship. Time to get married, he brings out that piece of paper, say, hey, just so everything is clear, I want you to prove that you want me just for me, right? So won't you go ahead and sign this prenup? If you really just want me, and if it ain't about the money, it's just about me, go ahead and sign this prenup, because that's another way to look at it.
That's true. Okay, so then what I would do if there was me, and I say it's me and this millionaire. So we're going to go old school African, because this is what Africans do when they get married, okay? Okay, so there's an agreement between the woman and her family and the husband. So you have this contract between you. She says, I want A, B, C, D, E, F. Then you go back and forth and negotiate. So in my mind, okay, so you want the prenup, so let's go do this old-fashioned way. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you want a prenup, so I want to feel secure too. So we're going to go back to culture. See, I can use the culture card for myself.
Yeah, they don't roll like that over here.
Like, for example, when I was in South Africa a couple months ago, my niece was getting married. And they were talking with her future husband about what she wants. One of the things she wanted was that she wanted to get married, but she didn't want to have kids immediately because she wants to go to university. So that was part of the agreement. Okay. Now they're like some other Muslim where they have a marriage for a couple of years and they have this agreement. Then this is what you're doing. So, I mean, I understand, like, if I was a millionaire and I was marrying somebody that I was not really trusting, then I might ask for a prenup. Because I'm not going to...
So why are you gonna marry? See, that's the problem. See,
that's exactly my point. So why are you asking for a prenup then?
You on her? Wait. You can't have, because see, you first of all, you're doing two things that I don't appreciate. You going back and forth on your accent, number one, and then you going back and forth on in Africa we do this. This is America. You're going to have a difficult time trying to find people that's going to be willing to do things like they do them in another place. How do we do here? You know how we do here? We jump into bed first and we get married after, and we think about everything else later. If you're going to be, let's be 100, because I ain't got no time to be playing. I got gray hair on my face. I ain't got no time to play with y'all. That's how we do it. Now talk through that. Tell me about that, because the reason why we do it is because most of the time we don't really know the person that we're involved with anyway like we should. We rushed into something, and now we act like we surprised when somebody say, hey, I'm going to need you to sign this prenup. I don't know why you're surprised. You don't know nothing about him. We normally don't get a chance to talk to each other at the beginning of a relationship like we're supposed to. Now in Africa, it sounds like they are trying to do it right. In South Africa, where you are, it sounds like they're trying to do it right. But for the most part in America, that ain't how we do. We trying to pull them down and slam down, thank you, ma'am, and then we'll figure out everything else after the lust is gone. Tell me I'm lying. Somebody tell me I'm lying.
No, you're not lying, but think about it. At the age that we are, okay, you cannot be led by your penis or your vagina at this age. You're supposed to know how to do better at this age. Not to say that there will not be tension or whatever, but hell, are you still acting? I mean, you have a wife, okay. So say if you were single, okay, it's different. If you were single, are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to be led by your drawers? I mean, really?
After you should mature out of that. Like we do it, you should age out of that. Just like, because that stuff, that's good when you in early 20s and 30s, but after a while, you got to age. We should be getting smarter as we get older, but that's not always the case, though. Because if you've been doing it and that's all you know, what's going to make you change, Grace? What's going to make you change?
You're going to make you change because the same shit that you've been doing over and over, it hasn't been working for you. That's why now you have to have a prenup, because you can't trust anybody, because you screwed over so many women. Right, so now you thought you found the one. Okay,
well, I got to be screwing over women.
It may not be an issue of screwing. Hold up, it may not be an issue of screwing people over. What if you actually worked hard and now you've hit a level to where that is a real concern because of your hard work? And you know what I'm saying? You could be late 30s, but now you got a little something behind your name that says, I got stock. You know what I'm saying? I'm somebody you need to pay attention to. So now I'm still dating, but I'm coming across people, and in the back of my mind, I gotta wonder, why are they really feeling me, or are they looking for the security
that I can provide?
I gotta question that. So in order for me not to question it, I bring out the prenup to say, hey, we marrying for love, right? You love me. It's just about me. So if that's the truth, go ahead and sign this to let me know that it's really about me.
I hear what you're saying. And because, I mean, nowadays, a woman will tell you straight up that they want somebody for certain things, right? A woman can go out on a date with a man knowing that she's only going to have dinner with him and use him. And that's just the truth, ladies. You know, you'll do that. Go out to dinner and have no intentions about ever seeing him again. So I can understand why somebody would want to have a prenup. I get it. Like, trust me, you're protecting yourself, which is probably smart if you like making that type of money. Now, if you're not making that type of money, what part do you have to put in that I need to sign a piece of paper? I mean, think about it. And it's all about how you bring it to that person. You understand? I was watching this, I can't remember what show it was, but it was a millionaire and a woman, and his family, he was a millionaire. His family was like adamant about the prenup, and she was tripping out. And honestly, watching that scenario, it was obvious that she was just after his money. I mean, so to me, if a man's gonna bring up a prenup, you should actually like know the person to know why you're doing that. It can't be because you like her vagina. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And then you think stupidly. It has to be well thought out. It has to be intentional. Everything has to be. Now, would I sign a prenup? It depends.
What it depends? Hold on, we're gonna get the comment.
Let's give Mika. Mika says, does a prenup really equate to you not trusting or the other person, or is it just protection?
See, because I think it's a combination of the two. I think there are situations for both where I think it's needed from both. Now, if you got a boatload of money, and she just average. And I hate to say average, but most people are average. If she just average, I think you have to do it to protect yourself. Because listen, what if? And I hate to say this, but what if it don't work out? What if it don't? Now, because generally, what should be understood that if I'm feeling you like you feeling me, you're gonna be good with the prenup or without. Because I'm gonna make sure you good. But do we trust each other enough to believe that? Or are we out here trying to get what we can for nothing? Because too many women out here that's gold digging. I said it. Too many. Am I lying?
No,
Grace,
you're
am
not
I lying? Am I lying? I need you to say that again a little louder this time for the people in the back. They didn't really hear you.
No, you are not lying. That is a fact because I hear too many things. There are a lot of people that is purely their intentions. That is, and I get why you saying that, and I think it is for protection. Man, it's a tough one.
It's kind of in the same breath you're saying I need to protect myself. In the same breath you're saying I don't trust you.
Exactly.
When you bring out a prenup, it's like in the same breath. The fact that I'm bringing it up says that there's a lack of trust. Or are you just saying 50% of marriages end in divorce? And the truth of the matter is that typically men in divorce, things don't go well for them. I don't know about women. I know Kelly Clarkson did have to pay a handsome ransom to her ex-husband, but that was the only woman I knew who had to actually shell out some money, significant money for her.
I think Mary J. Blige did too, though. I think she had to give her husband, she had to drop a nice little piece of chain on her husband too. Mm-hmm.
Queen 3 and King says, you're right, John. It's a combination of protection and lack of trust. Also, it's said it's both of them.
Yeah.
Dr. Selena says, I think when someone has established themselves as an individual or a business person or a celebrity before they establish themselves as a spouse, that's when the protection or a prenup needs to come into place. However, if you are building with your spouse, then I don't think that should be an issue. I agree. Do you think it's better? Do you think it's better for two young people to build together? Or is it you go out there, you spend all your time, your energy, get in the bag, you get the bag, and now you look for love? Mika says, maybe I'm looking at it differently. I don't think a prenup is a bad thing. Well, as long as it protects both parties.
But both parties don't have nothing to protect. Generally, only one of them do.
That's true.
And that's the bag. Because she or he is going to want some of that bag regardless of who's holding it. Regardless of who has the money. If it's Mary J. Blige and her husband, he want to continue to live the same lifestyle he was living with her, or vice versa. And that's, but see, this is the thing. If you was my wife and I was in love with you like you were me, regardless of where we are now, and see, that's the thing. Marriages and people change. That's why we need prenups, because people change. People don't love, or they don't lust after you the way they used to. So we have to have something in place in order to protect yourself. I think you have to. If you sitting on a bag that got you where you can't even sit down on your wallet, you need to have a prenup. You do to protect. If the woman is such a boss and where she's worth millions, it will behoove her. I tell you what, who is Britney Spears married that dancer dude, Kevin Federline, married him for I want to say 6 months, and that dude got a bag when they divorced. He got the bag and went back to his other girl. You don't really know what people's intentions are. People play too much. Yeah, I said it. They play too much, and they play with that money when nobody got time to be playing by no money. People work too hard for their money to have somebody waltz into their life and take half of it.
Queen 3 and King says, the fact of the matter is, like you said, John, people can change. People can flip on you, flip mode. So if that's the case, why don't we see more people building with each other? Why don't we see more people building with each other so I don't have to question why you there? Anthony says, with that type of money, some type of agreement needs to be formed. Go back to Beyonce and Jay-Z's start. Okay.
What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by that, because both of them had loot.
Andrea says, I agree with Dr. Selena. She says, hell, I really didn't have a bag like talking about it and paid my kid's father over $10,000 just to sign divorce papers. Oh, wow.
Well, then you did what you had to do. Don't you get on here and be complaining to us. I would have 15 at you since you giving away money.
But something
Okay.
you said, Derek, you said that when, maybe let me paraphrase, you said that when people get divorced, it's usually the men that lose more so. Can you elaborate on that more? What do you mean men lose more?
Because typically the way things are set up, you're typically looking at a man who has and a woman who's she doesn't necessarily have to the level, which makes me wonder why don't high earning men get with high earning women if it's about can I trust you? Because it seems like you want somebody who have their own, so they
Right.
come in with it, they can leave with it. But that's not what's happening. You typically have a person that gets somebody who doesn't quite have the same amount coming in, and they end up getting married.
Hmm. I think it has more to do with character, which is why, or the way a high earning woman is. She may not do the same things that somebody else. Because okay, let me just say that a lot of times, women, in the United States, I hate to say this. Oh my God.
Girl, say that. Say that.
Okay, so typically, like women that are educated, and not all women. Let me disclaimer from what I've witnessed, is right. Women tend to, those that are educated or high earners or whatever, don't know how to flip the switch when they come back to the house, right? So they have that energy like a man anyway. So there's the two men in the house.
Mm.
So that's where the problem lies. That's why probably high earning men, they don't want to be with women that are high earning as well, because you act like you're a Negro. So I mean, I'm just saying.
You-
But I want to even deal with
It didn't
this.
come from us, y'all.
See,
It didn't come from us.
I was just
It didn't
gonna
come from
say.
us.
I'm just saying, that's what I've
She right.
observed.
She right. And we've said
You
too
right.
many times, Derek has said more than one time, we don't want to put up with the headache of it. Because not only do you work with that, but you bring that same
Right.
enthusiasm home like you do when you're at work, when you're out there fighting to get ahead on that job.
But then, is it their fault though? Because that's the only example they've seen. They probably saw their mother, their grandmother, everybody in their family are all educated, and everyone's saying Negroes ain't shh. And so that's the mentality that's been taught. I'm just saying, because that's what I've seen, right? And so they
You're
don't
right.
want to marry another man. Because
You're
I mean,
right.
a man doesn't want this another man, like you talking crazy and I'm talking crazy, we both hot, like you know what I mean? And they don't know how to switch it off. They don't know how to turn it off. There's no wisdom. No one's taught them or modeled them, or they haven't seen an example of what a woman should be like in a relationship, in a marriage. So, I mean, from my experience. And then they'll say, women like me, oh, well, you have a strong personality. Yes, I do. But I've also had examples of how it needs to be tuned off and switched off, right? Women like us have more wisdom because we understand both sides. It goes back to your upbringing, your foundation. So
You're
that's
right.
what I think.
Queen 3 and King says a good prenuptial agreement will give the bag holder and the non-bag holder protection. Typically, it will give the non-bag holder a little something monetarily, just nothing crazy. I remember he said also because most high-earning women ain't friendly. You got a point. I remember when Deion Sanders got divorced. He had a prenup, but his wife, I think the agreement was that she gets $1 million. I think she got like $1 million in the settlement
for
as
every
part of
child.
the agreement.
So much for every child.
Yeah. So much for every child. But she still tried to go back and get more money. She was trying to get around the prenup. I remember that. She was she attempted to get around it to get more money.
But it sounded like in that particular situation, she was, once the marriage went sour, she was trying to get everything she could at that point. And so, and that's simply my point, man. When a lot of times when we go into these things, man, we got our rose-colored glasses on. I'm just looking at you, talking about, girl, I sure love me some you, and you saying the same thing to me. 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years later, I can't stand to see you. I can't stand to see you breathing. I just wish he would just fall out right now and just start coughing on the floor. That's what we be a lot of times. And when we get there and the prenup actually come up, now we surprised, like, well, I just don't know how. Well, a lot of times because most marriages aren't and I hate to talk like this, but aren't biblically based where you follow in Christ, man, it's difficult to stay married when you in church, when you follow in Christ. You fighting and all that, and then you praying afterwards.
Yeah.
But at least you praying afterwards. When you don't have Christ as your center, man, it is good luck with staying married. And because the divorce rate is so high, and by the way, women are the one that file for divorce. I want to say, what is 70% of the time there was something
Somewhere
like that?
between 70 and 80%.
It's really high. So if that's the case, I gotta protect if I'm holding the bag, I gotta make sure I'm protecting myself because I never know what could happen. Now, on the flip side of that, if things go well, she knows she's gonna be taken care of. She knows she good. If you love me the way I'm loving you, and we stay in this thing, you know I got you. But you gotta trust that I got you. But you have to trust me from the beginning to know that I got you, and that's what don't happen a lot of times.
Well, what doesn't happen is that the hard conversations are not had in the beginning because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And oh my God, I just love the way he makes me feel and blah, 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 all that bullshit. The reality is that reality is going to, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What I've learned is that you shouldn't fall in love. You should grow in love, right? You are in love with somebody, but as you continue, you grow in love, and you don't feel love every day. Let's be honest, because like you were saying, sometimes you don't like the way they chew or how they're breathing. That's just reality.
Yeah,
That happens with relationships, ups and downs, right? But what matters, those conversations beforehand need to be had. But people are not honest because why? We're afraid that if we're honest, we lose the person, or they're not going to like what we say. Well, if that's the case, then you need to go to therapy or something, because if you don't have those conversations, you are going to end up in divorce anyway. And at this age, who the hell wants to get divorced now? It's like when you're in your 40s. Like, damn.
But they doing it.
I know, and like it's nothing.
Yeah. Mika says, Grace, we have that convo several times. Can't be two men in that house. Yes. Right. So she's going back to what you were talking about. Queen,
if I see her stand up peeing, that's enough for me. I'm out.
Oh God.
Ivan says, hell yeah, it's their fault. At the end of the day, they're responsible. The responsibility belongs to the individual, regardless of what he or she grew up with.
Agreed.
Anthony says, reportedly, Beyonce, $5 million per child, $10 million if divorced. Within 2 years, $1 million every year past the 2.
Oh, you see, that's what I didn't even know they would have had to sign a prenup because both of them got bags of money.
Right.
But I guess everybody's trying to protect themselves, though.
And he cheated.
Whoa, we're not talking about Jay-Z. We're not talking about Jay-Z.
I'm just saying.
They've gotten past that. He admitted it. They got past it. Can y'all give a man a second chance?
No, and he's not fine. So no.
Hey, when you work as much
money, a billionaire?
When you work as much money as Jay-Z, he don't have no problem getting no woman. Believe me, you don't have no problem getting no woman.
Andrea says, I love that you don't sugarcoat anything.
She must be talking to me. She's not talking to y'all. She must be talking to me.
Oh gosh.
So what's the risk? What's the real risk for the person who goes into the marriage who doesn't have? They don't have the bag. What's the real risk for that person?
I think Grace said, I want to jump in for Grace, but Grace said something, and I don't want to just jump over that. She said people don't be honest. People don't be honest. People generally will tell you what they want to tell you in order to not hurt your feelings and make sure they stay in with you. And Grace, you also said, I believe that people should walk in love, walk into love, stay together, grow. Well, and the reason why that happens is because most of the time we're not really in love, we're in lust. And then once the lust is gone, now I got to figure out who you really are and who I am, because we got to get past the bedroom. Now, the bedroom can have firecrackers and sparks and them little chasers and all that out of them, but eventually you got to deal with that person.
Right.
And that's what the problem is a lot of time is we put too much emphasis on the pow, 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 and the coming off the top rope and the hanging on the chandelier. It's like, oh my God, it was so good. Okay, now you got 23 hours left to deal with each other.
Right. Right. 23 and a half, you mean?
I do. I'm trying to be generous today. Yeah, let's get out of here.
But that's the truth, though, because the reality is, I think we work backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Typically, people are going to have the kids first, then you can get married, and that's the way. And that's something, God showed me a long time ago, is how people do things backwards. And then you ask God to bless your mess, right? But you're working from the backwards. I mean, and not to say God can't bless it, because God is God. I'm not judging anybody. Your story is your story. But the reality is that's what we're doing nowadays. We do things backwards, and we expect it to work. And then you want to say it's God's standard. God's standard is not crap. I'm sorry. God has a specific standard, but he also gives us room for error, right? And room to grow and room to repent and do all these things to redo things, because we're given second and third chances. But what do? We are old fools. We do the same shit. You see the woman looking the same way or a man looking and you chase those things. And you don't ask yourself, why am I chasing the same thing? Because you are unhealed. That's why you're chasing the same thing. That's the reality.
So. Me and David just had this conversation. Why is it we get older and go through the same stuff that we did? We make the same mistakes we made 10 years ago, and we still making the same mistakes because you think you are an exception to the rule, and God is going to change it for you, or change that guy, or change that girl.
Right.
Nope.
He's not.
Nope. That's why you got 40 plus women out here competing with 20 some women. They're competing in the same. You competing for the same guys. And when everybody brings up Kevin Samuel, which he was the one that pointed all this out, everybody look at him like he's stupid. He don't know what he's talking about and everything. But it's the reality. You got mamas and daughters competing for the same guys.
Well, it's like roaches in the dark. We party in the dark, and you don't get mad while it's dark. But when the light is turned on and you got the scatter, now you have an attitude. Man, I was just about to get into everything till the lights came on. And that's what Kevin Samuels did. Kevin Samuels brought the light on and roaches started scattering.
Yeah, you're right. And actually, Kevin Samuel said a lot of good stuff. If you really listened to him and took your ego aside as a woman, you could learn a lot from that man.
But women don't do that. Women don't do that. Women don't do that. Women don't put their ego aside. When the last time you heard a woman put her ego aside? I'll wait. Because they don't do that. Many of us
out here.
Because they don't do that.
Yes, they do. You could not look at you now. I'm trying not to like man bashing. Then you are woman bashing.
Just tell me I'm lying. Seriously, I am so serious, and I'm not trying to woman bash. But women don't put their ego. Women want what they want, when they want it, how they want it. And the reason why it was so difficult for them with Kevin Samuels, he was telling them the truth, and nobody wants to hear the truth. People want to be puffed, want to be patted and fluffed and hugged and all that. They don't want the truth.
Well, I think because he was attacking their personal, right? But you can't go on a show and be 300 pounds and ask the man. I mean, if you went on his show, you knew he was going to tear you apart. You've seen the previous shows.
Yes.
That's what's funny. You knew.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very adamant about that, okay? He would tell you, if you're fat, what size are you? Are you a size? And you tell him, well, I'm 150 pounds. He's like, nah, you're about 200 and you wear size 40. I mean, but they go on there to want to hear the truth.
Yes. He was tough.
But I mean, you hearing the truth, not the truth you want. So
well,
he said a lot of good things.
We all have our truth and the real truth. We all have that. So that's what I just don't think people let me say that people are ready for that. But go ahead, Derek.
I think because a problem I'm seeing today, and you talking about marriage and you talk about growing in love, most young women, and it's just based on what I see, they're looking for the bag when men don't typically have a bag until their late 30s, early 40s and beyond. So now you got the 20-some-year-olds who they don't fit the description of what they want financially. And so those guys are left. And so you got this cycle of, I got to get rich now, so let me leave the dating pool of the age I'm in go to a more established person and secure the bag when you could get with that person and y'all can grow together and be in a better place? But you don't have people that's thinking like that. Everybody wants to hurry up and get whatever, they feel like they can get. And it's creating this vicious cycle to where you have older men who are the more desirable for the younger women because they have the resources. You got women that's looking at this guy that's working this job right now. It's like, he's not attractive because he doesn't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
What 20, 24, 25-year-olds, they got a lot of money if they ain't rapping or playing sports.
And then, when they come with you and tell you that they're rapping, immediately you put off that, right? Because you already know you're struggling. You ain't got shit if you're rapping. I mean, really. Especially when you're in your 50s and you say you have a label. Oh, my God, really?
Well, but you're right. But think about this. Now, I'm coming to the other side of it. Now, whether it's a man or a woman, if you're a man in your 40s and you don't have anything, you need to hook your wagon up to somebody that has something. And vice versa. Everybody wants to be a part of. I believe everybody wants to be a part of somebody that has something. So I think the older you get, the more pressing it is that you sign a prenup.
You know how men end up like that though? Because they were the guys that the women were after when they were younger because of physically what they were capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they was up around 45, 50 minutes. They was all over there.
Saying, oh yeah, I'm serious, and that's what's happening. Because what I see, the guys that don't have to work hard, they don't work hard,
right?
If that makes sense. Now the guy who's trying to raise his stock, he's working hard. A lot of these billionaires, they were nerds, and their whole motivation was, I want to get to a place where can't nobody deny me.
CJ Boyd say, me, LOL, I'm a 25-year-old trapper with money.
What's a trapper?
I'm hoping it's the cousin of a rapper.
Oh, okay.
Anthony said dope dealers.
There you go.
Oh, God. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. It ain't just nothing just appealing to me about somebody kicking in your door, whether it's police or somebody else coming to rob you. Ain't nothing appealing about that.
I'm laying in your bed. I'm laying in the bed and I get shot because you doing something wrong. Hey, they told you not to move. They ain't tell me not to move.
But that's the crazy thing. You have young women who, even if it's guys that are dope dealers, just because they got the bag, they trying to go after them. I don't understand it. Now you can't sign a prenup based on drug money. I don't think you can sign a prenup based on drug money.
At the end of the day, it depends on the relationship we have and who you have it with and what conversations you had. So, I mean, what may not be for one person may be for somebody else. I think it goes back to the conversation, how is it presented, and just have an in-depth conversation about it. It's really not a bad thing or a negative thing, honestly, because I'm thinking, like, I have a son, right? And I have girls as well. And would I encourage my son if he ended up playing pro football? Would I encourage him to have a prenup? And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I would, just because I know women, right? And I've seen these young girls. And would I encourage him? Absolutely, I would. Would I do the same thing for my girls? Yes, I would. Because again, it's about protection. And just that the generation that's coming up now, I mean, you see how it is. So that's why I would encourage my children to do it. Now, whether they do it or not is their choice, but it's trash out here. The dating pool is full of pee.
Somebody said that. I thought that was so funny.
That's why I am glad that I don't swim no more. I don't have to swim. Monique says, what does hook your wagon up with someone else mean?
Well, when I say hook your wagon, so when you're in your 40s, you're trying to find somebody who have something or has a great potential to have something, and you go and try to get with them. You're chasing the money at that point. Basically, when you get the older you get, the more likely the tendency is for people to kind of chase you for your money.
Chauncey says high value isn't based on character or integrity. It's solely based on the bag. Hence, the reason the failure rate is spiking. Failure should not be trending in our community the way it has been for decades. Many of us are drawn to dysfunction, and it shows. He's absolutely right. Because we use the term high value, but it's really high earning.
Right.
But which tells us where our values really are.
Anyway, because the first thing somebody will say is, I want a guy that makes, I think one of the lady had she had like 2 teeth in the front or something. And she was like, I want somebody who make $400,000. And I was like,
2 teeth? With 2 teeth? No,
the mirror must be broke all over the house because you ain't even putting yourself in a place where people are so delusional. I saw that
video. She was actually missing teeth. She was.
People are delusional. Wow. It's like you don't even have yourself in a position where you would somebody with that kind of money would even look at you.
Right.
I mean, because they got what we always say, because they got choices.
Yeah.
And then when the man doesn't want her with her missing teeth, then he's prejudiced. You know, have you noticed that? Anyway, that's another story.
No. I need to hear that. What is it? Let me hear that.
Women can talk about a man so bad, right? Can fat shame a man, but let a man say, "Oh, she's fat." Oh my God!
Then, we're gonna have to bring you back. We're gonna have to bring you back because you are saying something. You're so right. And, hey, that's why they talked about Kevin Samuels so bad because he was fighting because he was shaming them, and they don't want to be now. But she'll get on there. That same one was talking about unattractive men always trying to holler at her. I'm like, girl, you better quit that. You better quit that plan because you was paying them. You had to be paying them men to holler at you.
Right.
But as soon as, and I watched the video, as soon as she finished expressing herself, the other lady she was talking to was, oh, but you're a beautiful queen. You just she went in like that. And it's not solving the issue. It's not solving
no, D. She said you're a beautiful soul, is what she said. She looked past that. You're a beautiful soul.
She did.
Your essence is beautiful. She said nothing about her physical.
That mean you ugly.
She said you have such a beautiful spirit. She said nothing about the way she looked. She said nothing about because I'm listening for her. She's like, no, I'm not gonna do it like that. Do it like that.
Grace got some fans tonight. Anthony said, man, Grace is on her shizzle tonight. I want to know what the women have to say. Chauncey said, "Get Grace some security."
But she gonna need some.
Okay, Andrea says, "I love Grace." Okay, all right. So Grace got some fans. Now, Anthony said, referring to Chauncey, you have to look at what social media and the industry is promoting now. This generation is the worst.
Yeah.
We're falling for it. We don't have relationships paraded around of successful relationships. You got some people that's out here, I mean, they sticking together. They making it work. But you don't see that. It's not promoted. And how can we change that? How do we actually get people to actually want to stay together, get in a marriage and stay together? How do we actually fix that?
But if you don't fix that, then we're gonna always have prenups. We're gonna always have a just in case. We're gonna always have a wait a minute, but she might trip, but wait a minute, he might do this. We're gonna always have prenups. There's always gonna be a risk of having to sign a prenup. Always.
You know what I think though? I think people, if each person worked on themselves before they came together, I think it would have more of a success rate if you turn inwardly. But we don't do that. No, you want to point at somebody else. Well, they made me do. No one made you do nothing. You made you do that.
And see, it's great. And one of the things I often say on the show is if we worked on ourselves as hard as we had expectations for somebody else, because ultimately you want the best from somebody like they want from you. So everybody should be working on themselves. Everybody should.
And I shouldn't be looking at my partner to make me happy, to make me feel a certain way. Because all that stuff starts over here, But we tend to put that burden on somebody else, somebody to heal us, somebody to heal yourself, honey, before you come to this man or he comes to you.
But if you can't heal yourself, Grace, talk to somebody that can.
That's what I'm saying. When I say heal yourself, I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about talking to somebody, being honest with yourself, loving yourself irrespective of your flaws. Because I mean, there's no two perfect people are not coming together.
Right.
I mean, you just have to figure out, okay, whatever they have, is it something I can deal with? Can I live with it? And if you can, then you can take that on. If not, then go to the next person, because your person's out there if that's not your person. But how do you know what boundaries to set if you don't even know yourself? Like, you need to be expert on you first before I can jump into any relationship and think I can be anybody's helpmate. It's like time out. That's why there's so many divorces, because we're not working on ourselves. We want to be fixed.
I don't think it's not that we're not working on ourselves. Let me get CJ. CJ said that's how you low key tell a girl she's ugly. You got to hit her with you have an amazing personality. Monique says I agree with some of what Grace is saying. Dropping gems. Chauncey says that, Anthony, we have to combat that, especially if we recognize it. CJ says, to be honest, you got to work on yourself before you start getting in relationships. Once yourself is established, then you can go up and to anybody and be good. But here's the problem with this. This is what I'm saying. Anytime we talk about working on yourself, we work on ourselves to the end of being independent of people. But relationships is not an independent reality.
Right.
Relationships is an interdependent reality. So if if your whole goal is to be independent, then that becomes your goal. Then you're already setting yourself up so you don't need another person. You don't factor that other person really into your life. You still operating as if they leave, if they go, I'm still good.
Yeah.
When the truth of the matter is, if y'all really in it, you ain't just gonna be good, regardless of what. Even the most peaceful divorces that people claim are peaceful, there is pain attached to them. So we got to stop lying about, the real cost of getting out. There's a real cost to that. But
I think you're right, Dave. I just gotta say, I think you're right. But that cost of divorce and all that should be talked about at the front end of the relationship. Hey, listen. I'm in it, I have seen what divorce did to such and such. I've lived, my parents got divorced. We got to talk, we got to have, like was mentioned at the beginning of the show, real conversations. Right. We can't be fluff talking and lust talking. We got to have real conversations as we start talking about moving a relationship to another level.
Lance said, that's what I'm doing now, working on me before I find someone.
I think it's good. I wrote something. I will read it, and you may agree or disagree. It's a short snippet. I said, when I function in my highest level of truth and power, I'm not derailed by the outcome of any relationship. In relationships, we have to be interdependent and independent. This means that I open my heart, but my heart does not depend on you. And what I meant when I wrote that was that my happiness does not depend on you. My happiness is internal.
Yes.
You have to be independent and interdependent, because if I'm solely dependent on you, I'm going to drain the shit out of you. That every time you're in my space, you're going to have to go and regroup. And I want to be my man's safe place. And I want him to be my safe place, where I don't have to, like, when you're out here and you're a pastor, you're there for everybody, right? But when you're with your wife, you don't have to be pastor. You can just be Derek, right? And that's important to me. So, what?
I thought you was talking to me when you said
no. So that's what I feel like. I think that independence, it's good to be independent, but also interdependent. That makes sense.
What's great about that? One of the things you're saying, I think Will and Jada are having the problem right now. Is remember, Will is trying to make Jada happy every way he can.
Right.
Because it's not his responsibility to. You're on to something. You're definitely on to something.
Monique says the cost of divorce is tragically hard, but you can't make a person stay when they want to go.
True.
I believe most divorce relationships run into this. The space where they're not working on it anymore, giving up. And that's because, listen, if you give yourself an out, you're going to take it. Marriage gets hard enough. So if you give yourself an out, you will absolutely take it. But you find out who you really are in commitment. You don't know yourself until you commit to something. committing to a diet, committing to a relationship, committing to a job. When you say, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to fight for this, that's when you find out exactly what you really made of and who you really are. And most people, they get in marriage and it starts getting tough, and that's when they show up. And anybody can talk good when it's all good.
And why you really in it? Why you really doing it? Because it's gonna make you question why you really doing it. Because whatever reason it was, the why you're doing it, you're gonna have to keep that in your head because you're gonna need that to motivate yourself.
But isn't that how we are with our kids, though? I mean, we love our kids, but sometimes you're like, damn, you got 7 years left in this house, honey, before you go.
Well, you know what's funny? How we count down, because we are counting down over here as well.
All right. Final thoughts. We're up to final thoughts. Miss Grace, what do you want to leave the people with tonight?
Well, the prenup thing, I mean, it gives you food for thoughts. And again, like I said before, it depends on what both people actually come up with and agree on. And if it's a respectful conversation, I don't see anything wrong with it, honestly. And those are my final thoughts. And if you want to, do it. If not, then, but in that as well, there's this level of mistrust. So, hey, whatever you and your guy or girl decides, and if you can move forward from that, why not do it? So.
Well, somebody next time, somebody tell her when you say that's your final thought, you're supposed to cut that out. You're not supposed to keep going. But yes, my final thought is love on yourself. If you can love yourself first, then it's easy for you to love somebody else. But most of the time, we don't do a good job of loving ourselves. We depend on somebody else to do that. We don't feel like we complete unless somebody else is doing it. Begin to know yourself and to know who you are and deal with yourself. And more importantly, be honest with yourself. And once you do that, you can truly find real love if you're actually honest with yourself. And that's my...
One of the hard things about relationships is facing yourself, because you got to come to a point to where you realize that some work you didn't do that you needed to do. And when you get to that place, it's an ugly place to be, but that shows what kind of character you have. Are you going to fight through and become who you really are? Or are you going to bow out and stay the same and you keep getting the same results over and over again? We're talking about transformation. There's no way you can get in a marriage in 10, 15 years, be the same person if you're doing it right. Because the marriage will challenge you, it will stretch you, it will grow you. But the whole thing about prenups, we arrive here because everybody's looking for a way out. Nobody knows what it is to commit anymore. Nobody knows what it is to stick things out. Because when you have to stick it out, you figure out a way to make it work. But it takes two. So that means you got to make sure that person that you're getting with, their level of commitment is the same as yours. If you got the same level of commitment, you can make it work. But it's going to take work. So stick it out. See what you can make of it. That's my final thoughts for this week.
Wow. Went quick, man. It went quick. Ran by.
It did go pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Grace, we want to thank you. We definitely enjoyed having you on with us tonight. We got to get you back another time.
No, not really, though. We really don't.
Nah, he was loving you because you said some things from a woman's perspective
that we've been saying. Yes.
So,
and it's easier to receive a lot of time from a woman because women have their ears closed. If you ever been married, y'all close your ears when it comes to y'all husband telling y'all, men telling y'all anything. Y'all don't really listen.
Now, let me tell you what, we only close our ears if your tone is jacked. If your tone is cool, I'm cool.
Whoa. So, see, we're going to have to have our back.
Yeah, we got her. Yeah, we about to get off into a whole other show. A whole other show. Andrea says, please bring him back.
She kept saying, it just matters how you tell me. No, it does not matter.
No, it does. For me, it does. Tone is everything to me. You come like you want to fight, I will fight within myself not to fight you. You see what I'm saying? If you come cool, My ears are open. I am receptive. My spirit is open. What do you want to say, darling? What is it? You see, I listen.
That is funny. That is funny.
Yeah. We got to have her back because, yes.
Oh, so now you remember me because you didn't remember me.
You know what's so funny though? You're a Facebook friend of mine, and I saw you, and I was like, oh, this is who that is, because I had no idea.
Awful. That's awful. But
yes,
okay.
It is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody that jumped in the comments. Appreciate the dialogue with everybody. Everybody saying great show. Thank you all for stopping by this Monday and being with us. We're here every Monday, 7 p.m. Central. Come back next week for more Man Talk Mondays. We'll catch y'all next week.
Bye.
Peace out.
Be blessed.